I just finished watching that show on Netflix, Nobody Wants This. I finished watching season 2, and I actually find this show like really interesting, and I encourage Christians to go and watch this show, especially if you're living in the current situation that I'm about to explain. So basically, the show is about a Jewish rabbi named Noah who falls in love with an atheist woman named Joanne, right? And constantly throughout the show, the reoccurring theme comes up of Noah's internal struggle with the fact that Joanne might never convert to Judaism, right? And we see them break up, get back together, break up and get back together, and over and over the cycle goes, right? But then there was a few specific scenes that stood out to me as well that like kind of serves as a reminder to people, like maybe you feel like you might be living as a lukewarm Christian, or like that you're not fully surrendering everything to God. And these are some reminders from these scenes that I specifically picked out. So the first scene is that where Joanne feels like she's ready to convert to Judaism, right? But then she runs into Noah's ex, who reminds her that of the responsibility that comes with being a rabbi's wife, right? The expectation of the church, how you need to present yourself, how your life needs to be. And then Joanne comes to that realization that she's converting for the wrong reasons and she's not actually ready for that kind of life. So she goes and breaks up with Noah after that, and they eventually get back together, so and so. Another scene as well is where Noah takes Joanne to a Jewish camp for teenagers. And so at first he's covering for his boss, but his boss ends up showing up on one of the days, and he gets embarrassed that Joanne is there because he realizes that his job could be on the line if he finds out that Joanne is there, and that he's dating Joanne, right? Because he realized in his head that, she's not converted. I'm currently living like kind of like as a lukewarm, that we're sleeping together before marriage, all that kind of stuff. And so he gets embarrassed to introduce Joanne to his boss, right? And also as well because he's up for a promotion and he knows that this could hurt his promotion, yeah? And then the third scene was that Joanne gets evicted by her landlord from her rental, and his straight up answer to her moving in is no, because she hasn't converted to Judaism, right? And we watch that toxic cycle go on and on and on. And, and we know, like, if Joanne right from the start had converted to Judaism, they probably would have already gotten married by now and moved in and started having kids and things like that. Like that, that's just how the natural cycle goes when, you're with someone who you 100% believes the same thing that you do, and that you just know that things are going to work out, right? Or you try to make, that there's a higher possibility of things working out because you believe in the same thing as your partner. And I think that that's just a really good lesson to anyone who might be going through that situation, or a reminder, like maybe you feel like you're not that connected to God, or you're living as a lukewarm Christian. Go and watch this show, because a lot of these things will trigger you and will have you thinking about your life as a Christian, even though in this context it is like to being Jewish, but it's still the same like kind of principles as, being a Christian and being in a relationship. So I just thought that, that was some good food for thought for everybody. Yeah.